Hi friends, my name is Faye and you're watching Mystery Date with a Book. Okay, today we're doing a quick guide to the Shadowhunters world. This is a world created by Cassandra Clare. There are a lot of books out at the moment, and there's more coming out, at least for the next decade, I think. We're still gonna get a few more books in there. So, I understand if you've never read a Shadowhunter book, it might seem a little bit intimidating because there are so many books. So here's a very quick guide, very simple guide if you're a complete beginner. Okay, so these books behind me here, they are all the main series, okay? There are a few standalones, there are a few spin-offs, but we're not gonna go into them. Those are just, extra little stories, and if you're a complete beginner, you don't need to worry about that, okay? Let's focus on the main series. Right, so before we start, the books behind me right now, they are in, I want to say, chronological order. The first series, the Infernal Devices, those are set in the late 1800s. Then, straight after, you get Chain of Gold, which is the first in another series that's coming out now, and it happens straight after the Infernal Devices. So, if you're looking for a bit of historical fiction, I want to say, but it doesn't feel like historical fiction, you can start with this series, the Infernal Devices. That's set in Victorian London, okay? The end of the 1800s. I think it's 1878, if I'm not mistaken. That's when we start. The first series starts with Tessa Gray. She comes from America into the UK, and as soon as she steps off the boat, things start happening. There's a mystery, there's a lot of action, it's brilliant. So, if you want to start chronologically, you start with the older ones, which are the Infernal Devices. Now, after that, straight after that, we get the new series, which is called The Last Hours. Sorry, I should be facing this way so you can hear me. The next series, which is coming out now. We have the first book here so far, and it happens straight after the Infernal Devices. In here, we follow the children of the main characters from the Infernal Devices. So, I wouldn't recommend reading Chain of Gold before you read the Infernal Devices, because that wouldn't make any sense. You get spoiled for a lot of things. Then, after that, if you want something a bit more modern, you can start with The Mortal Instruments, which was Cassandra Clare's debut series. So the very first book we have, which is her first book, is City of Bones. It's the first book in the Mortal Instrument series, and this is the OG book, okay? These are the OG characters. You have Clary, it depends on your accent. We have Clary Frey, we have Simon, her best friend, we have Jace. We have so many very famous characters in the Shadowhunter world. It all starts here. If you're going for a more modern approach, these are set in the 2000s. I think it's 2005 or something. I don't know. It's in the 2000s. So yes, the Mortal Instruments. That's the first series that came out in the Shadowhunter world. And as with everything, with every skill that you have, the more you practice, the better you get at it. You can clearly see that in Cassandra Clare's writing. If you start with the Mortal Instruments, they're not great. If you're looking at the writing style, you see really bad writing in there, especially the first book. So just be aware of that, okay? But as we go along through her other books, you can see her improvement. Cassandra Clare has improved so much as a writer, it's unbelievable. But yeah, That's the first one. That's the first series that you get. And straight after that, we have the Dark Artifices, which start with Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness. Now, these are chunkers. Like, they are big books, but they're worth it, in my opinion. It starts off really, really slow, so I know it's not for everyone. Don't worry if you didn't like it. So yes, these are chunkers, but they're really, really good. I especially love Queen of Air and Darkness. That's the end of the trilogy, and oh, I have feelings. I read that book about 2 years ago, I want to say. No, a year ago. Whenever it came out. I don't remember when it came out. And I still have feelings. So good. So if you're looking for a more modern approach, I would start with the Mortal Instruments and then go to the Dark Artifices. Now, if you're going to read them in publication order, which would be the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, the Dark Artifices, and the Last Hours, you would get spoiled. In my opinion, there's a lot of spoilers, especially towards the end of the Mortal Instruments and the whole of the Dark Artifices. You get a lot of spoilers for the beginning of the series. So you have a few options here. You can either do it by publication date. It's up to you. It's what Cassandra Clare usually tells people to do, publication order. But in my opinion, that doesn't really work because you do get a lot of spoilers for other books. So, what I would suggest, if you're looking to get into the Shadowhunter world, you don't want to read the whole series, you know, all these books plus the standalones and the spin-offs. Don't worry. If you're looking for a Victorian London feel, it's just a backdrop. The story itself is it has a modern feel to it. Well, the Shadowhunters themselves, they haven't really changed their mindset really in this whole period. So Victorian London is just a backdrop really. But if you want to start with the older ones so you don't get spoiled for anything that happens later, I would start with the Infernal Devices. Definitely. If you want to go for a more, you know, historical fiction kind of feeling, I would go with the Infernal Devices and then get Chain of Gold. So good. I highly recommend it. So yes, that's what I would recommend. The Infernal Devices and then Chain of Gold. But if you want to start with, you know, the OG gang, if you want to get a more modern take on the Shadowhunter world, I would go with the Mortal Instruments and then the Dark Artifices. It depends on your reading taste. It depends on how much time you have, because if you do have time and money to get all these books as well, I would recommend just reading them all in this order, in chronological order. I feel like I'm flying here. I would read them all in chronological order, just like I have set them out here. If you just want to dip your toe into it, and you have to choose between Victorian London and modern day America, Victorian London, modern day America. It's up to you. So, because we're keeping this very, very simple, just for complete beginners really, if you want to dip your toe in, if you want to start with a Victorian London, you know, the old set of Shadowhunters, I would start with this one, Clockwork Angel. And if you want to go for the Mortal Instruments and start with the more modern American setting, I would go with City of Bones. Now, keep in mind that this is her first book. This is her debut, so it's not very well written, okay? Just warning you. Don't judge all her books by her debut, okay? It wouldn't be fair. It's not great, but it's a start to a really interesting world, and the Shadowhunter world is just so big right now. It's insane. So yes, it's up to you. Victorian London or modern day America. That's what I would recommend you start with in the Shadowhunter world. Now, the Shadowhunters, they're a different species to humans, basically. They have the blood of the angel, as they say. Ages ago, I think it's Gabriel, is it? I don't know. A certain angel, I can't remember his name right now, he came down to Earth and he blessed this race called the Shadowhunters. So they are special. Their aim in life is to protect the mundanes, the humans like us, from demons and vampires and werewolves and, you know, all the underworld people. So that's basically what it is. They have their own little country. It doesn't say exactly where it is. It's somewhere in Europe, and mundanes can't see it, so it's not on any map, but we know it's in Europe somewhere. So they travel through portals, and then they get to Idris, which is where they all, you know, they all live. They all live throughout the world, but they all have a house in Idris. They can all live in Idris as well. Anyway, this is just a very basic guide to Shadowhunters. In my opinion, what I would do, what I wish I had done, was read the Infernal devices first. Yes. So you're not spoiled for what happens afterwards in modern day time. Because you do see some of the same characters, you know, because there are some immortal characters in their world, and they do pop in and out of the story sometimes. So you don't want to get spoiled, you know. You don't want to get spoiled for what family line will die out, or which character is going to live forever, or, you know, you don't want to get spoiled, right? So I would go with chronological order, but that's just me. If you don't like historical fiction, don't be afraid to pick this up. It does not feel like historical fiction. It's, I don't want to say steampunk, but it does have a steampunk feel to it. It's a really interesting way of writing historical fiction. I would give it a go anyway, okay? That's my recommendation, but that's just me. Anyway, so that was my quick recommendation for the Shadowhunter world and all the books. There are so many books. I think I might do a separate video for all the standalones and the spin-off, but I'm not sure yet. So yes, if you have any questions about the Shadowhunter world, or, you know, if you're still not sure which book you should pick up first, let me know down in the comment. You know, I'll try and help you. I'll see what your reading taste is like, and, you know, we'll find you a good book in this world. There's something for everyone here. Now, before we go, my question of the day is, if you have read any of the Shadowhunter world books, which one is your favorite? Which series is your favorite? Or maybe if you're being very specific, which is your favorite book in this world? It's up to you. Okay, I'd be interested to know. My favorite at the moment, I think at the moment, is Chain of Gold. I love that book so much. So much. But as a series, because that's just one book, that's not a series. As a series, I'd say the Dark Artifices are my favorite series. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Now, what's your favorite? Right, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, subscribe, click the bell, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.